Welcome back to the Turnbuckle Tavern and another edition of our Visits the Tavern live from the No Sale Studios. I am the ace of the tavern, Stephen Acefield, and I'm joined today by an up-and-coming tag team, Sage CHANTZ and Tommy Rant, affectionately known as the Slimeballs. How you guys doing?
Yo,
man? What's going on? Great to have you guys.
What's going on, man?
Dude, thank you for having us on here, bro.
Of course. You guys, I've seen you in action a few times. You guys have been killing it over here on Long Island. We represent. We got some Long Island feel all throughout the tavern. We had Sal Savelli last time on here, so want to represent NYWC. You guys are killing it over there.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate that.
All right, so let's start with, we're almost at the end of the year. 2022 is just about wrapped up, and we're moving quickly into 2023. So I'm sure you guys have aspirations towards where you want the team to go, and individually you guys have goals. Probably feels like yesterday you guys walked in NYWC to train. I saw your Instagram post, Sage. It was about a year in July. I'm not sure about your origin story, and I'm sure we'll get into that. Tommy, how would you guys describe your 2022 in the year so far?
You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. This year was really good. Like, almost, it was like our first year as a real tag, you know? So trying different things out, like trying to get different places. Like we did Dojo Wars, but, you know, the first time they had us do single stuff. Then we went back and we've done tag stuff. So we're trying to, you know, we've been going down to CCW lately, like helping out, trying to get on the shows. We just got on the past one and did a little segment with Milk Chocolate and the Rep. And, yeah. You got anything?
I mean, for me, it's been pretty crazy because, like, I'm still, you know, only like a year and maybe 3 months and some change, like, in the business completely. And I made my debut on shows at 4 months. So, like, it was a slow start for, like, the first 2-3 months. But, like, by the time I was about, you know, 6 months in, him and I got a match with the SAT. And, like, man, that was crazy. And I feel like this year, like, everything just, like, it's going pretty crazy. I was actually very surprised to see how much cool stuff we've done this last year, especially as like a new team and whatnot.
That's awesome. And
yeah, man,
you guys have been crushing it. And let's start with the name origins. And I know you guys probably have reasons for the names. Let's start with you, Sage. How did you come up with Sage CHANTZ? With the Z at the end really has the affection of the Slimeballs.
Right, be honest.
Yeah. So we used to backyard wrestle like since I think we started like 2014. So for like a year, none of us had a name. And so I was like, dude, we all need like names, blah, blah, blah. Literally, I think I went on Google. I typed in unique names for boys and I found Sage. And then I saw CHANTZ, but it was spelt a little differently. So I was just like, oh, why not? Screw it, Sage CHANTZ. And when I first got in, when they were like, oh, what's your working name going to be? I was like, oh, Sage CHANTZ. Everyone was like, what? Sage?
Yeah.
Everybody either hated Sage or they hated CHANTZ. So, but there was no way I was not going to use that name because I don't know. I just love it.
Tommy Rant fits with it too. So almost rhymes. It's not completely a rhyme thing, but it's aesthetically pleasing for a team.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I did the backyard stuff with him, but I used like a different name. I went by like TJ York in the backyard, which was sort of inspired by Christian York. I was pretty high on him at the time. One of my favorite wrestlers from like, you know, a tag team wrestler from ECW and whatnot. Right. Yeah, I used that. And then I went to NYWC and I like approached the promoter and was like, how about like I use Thomas Rant, like my real name? And then he was like, nah, how about Tommy Rant? I was like, Tommy Rant it is. So that came very quickly for me. And I'm glad because I wanted to use my real name. So and I hope it flows and sounds good for wrestling too.
No, it sounds good. I mean, that leads me into my next question about the Slimeballs moniker and the whole feel of everything. It's really grown over the past couple of months. You guys see I have the slime. You guys affected the Visit the Tavern a little bit, slimed us on the screen over here. What added to that, and what was the idea? I guess in a room together, like let's just add the Nickelodeon level slime on here. Like it caught my eye.
So this one's actually pretty funny. So we didn't have a tag name for a while. We just went by Rant and CHANTZ, and then we went out. We had like a little segment at CCW like months and months and months ago before we were the Slimeballs, and we came out and. When we got announced, it just sounded absolutely horrible. It was like Sage CHANTZ, Tommy Rant, Rant and CHANTZ. We
Him and I both cringed like insanely hard. We were like, "Wow, does that really sound like that?" When we announced it, and I was like,
and then only like 2 weeks later, we were filming a thing for Man Bun Jesus's like Fifth Dimension, like his little like videos he does with the belt, and Sal was in the ring, and it was after the night after Psycho Circus, and he was just filming something, and he just looks at us and calls us. He said, "And you two slime balls." And then everybody just started calling us the slime balls, and we didn't like it at first.
Yeah, we didn't really
like
it.
I didn't care that people were calling us that, but I didn't like it as a tag name. Like, I wanted to use something like Dreadful Youth, but like it's not like I knew it didn't pop enough.
Want to do something hard, something that sounded tough. But like him and I are goofy as all hell, so like we took the Slimeballs name and ran with it. Like we went crazy with it and like designed our gear to be dripping and like we went pure like as you said, Nickelodeon, like child-esque, like. We wanted to really go for that vibe, and him and I we're goofy. Like, we're so goofy. And like, I feel like it fits us so well now. And I feel like we definitely grew into the slime balls very quickly. And it's definitely the coolest thing we've done so far.
Yeah, and it's like a happy accident. It just came up in promo. That's somehow the best things ever. And it just happened. I don't know, Sal probably didn't think he was naming you at the time, but here he is.
Exactly. Yeah.
You guys have the moniker with you forever. So if I've heard correctly through the grapevine, talking to some people that know you guys grew up as lifelong fans. You mentioned backyard wrestling. Where did you guys meet, and how was wrestling connected? How has wrestling connected you guys and kept you guys friends throughout the rest of your lives?
So he's literally like my little brother, just not by blood. Like his mom and my mom were very close friends back in like 2001, 2002. And he lived right behind me, like where I've lived the same place my whole life in New York. And he lived right behind me. He was my neighbor. And we literally grew up together. Like from the day he was born, I knew who he was and he's known who I was. Literally each other's first, like best friends, basically. I think that's also why our chemistry is so like intact and whatnot. And you could see it when we wrestle, we have insane chemistry and like, we literally grew up together and we've been best friends since before we even got into wrestling. Like, for probably close to 11 years, before we ever got into wrestling. And, I got into wrestling when I was about like 8 years old. Started watching Monday Night Raw. I think the first thing I ever saw was like Jeff Hardy versus Carlito, like a ladder match on Monday Night Raw for the Intercontinental title, like late 07. And that was awesome. Like a dude jumping off a ladder. It was like, what? Like 7-year-old brain exploded.
Right.
I don't know. I think he got into wrestling a little bit later than me.
Yeah, I remember he always used to try to tell me to start watching and stuff. And the only wrestler I knew was Jeff Hardy because he would be like, "Yo, dude, you got to start watching." I'd be like, "Oh, I don't know." He'd be like, "Dude, look at this video of Jeff Hardy, blah, blah, blah." And then eventually he was just like, "Yo, put on Raw tonight, dude, for real." I was like 9 years old. I put it on. So I think that was like end of 2013. Like August of 2013 was like the first time I watched. First episode I saw was like when Randy Orton got the car gifted the car from the Authority, and then Daniel Bryan spray painted "Yes" all over it, and I was like, damn, that guy's a jerk, yo.
That's amazing. So we'll get more into your history and how you guys are connected from early childhood. But Sage, tell everyone about the story about the nose guard. They caught my eye. You were really working with it. How is it added to your character? And are you drawing from Cody Rhodes, using it to wear back in his dashing and disfigured days with the Rey Mysterio? I'm not sure if you were watching during that era.
So I got surgery on my nose in July. I had a deviated septum, so I got that fixed, and so I wasn't able to wrestle for like, I think it was like it was supposed to be like 2 months. And then it was like, oh, that we're screwed. And then he got hurt. He broke his hand.
Yeah, it broke my hand at a hardcore show.
So I guess it kind of lucked out for us that we both got hurt at the same time, even though it sucked, but not a better time for him to get hurt than when I was. And then it's funny because everybody says like like when I'm in there, they call me like dashing. But it's funny because now I want to, even after the nose is like probably all healed up, that could definitely add to the gimmick just because it's very like ridiculous too. Like it's stupid. It makes me look dumb. I gotta drip it out soon. I probably will before the next show, like color all over it and stuff, paint it. And then but it's funny because like I think last week they told me I was training with a few people and they were like, "Oh, that's just a gimmick now, you're faking it." I was like, I'm just being safe. They're like, "Oh, take it off." And I was like, all right, screw it. So I hit my nose like 2 times and I was like, oh, it was pretty bad. So but my hair, it's so annoying putting it on because I have to like pull all my hair through it, and it's so uneven that like the second I get put in a headlock, it's like bent up. So like sometimes I just take it and throw it off, but then like
I think every match you've had so far, you take like a shoulder tackle and it slides up. He's like, oh, he throws it off his head in like a fit of rage. It's very funny.
So then like the rest of the match, I'm kind of just like, trying to like keep my keeping my nose away from them. So I'm just trying to be safe,
It definitely adds to it, though. I mean, because the thing is, so I think about a spot in the match where you can even, as a heel, you can still garner sympathy. Where the mask comes off, you get hit in the nose. It's like a normal punch can end the match now because now it feels like you're vulnerable and you're removing the guard. It's the same thing. Like I think about Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle when they took the boot off of Eddie Guerrero, and like somehow the ankle lock with the boot off seemed like it was much more devastating. So I like it, man. I think it's cool as long as you're not uncomfortable. Maybe you guys can gimmick it so you don't have to have the protection and you can just wear it and make it look like it's a little bit more comfortable for you to wear.
It's funny because I think every single match that I've lost since I came back with the mask, and every match we've lost has been because of the mask. Like the last match we had, those freaking schmucks, the Shillelagh Hitmen.
I was there, live in the building.
Dude, you saw that garbage. Freaking moved out of the way, hit Tommy Rant with the face mask, and then they freaking hit the Shillelagh Law right on my face. That's messed up, man.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked.
That's not cool, dude. They did not deserve to be #1 contenders.
The mask was hard, bro. It like knocked me clean on my ass. I was stiff. I was like
out cold. Yeah,
it sucked, bro. We got cost tag team title match.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in a second about aspirations, about getting back into the hunt for that, because I know you guys will be there soon. You mentioned breaking your hand at a hardcore show, which is a good transition to you have another creative outlet with your band Sprawl. I'm not sure you guys are still doing stuff, but you dropped an EP in November 2019. So tell us a little bit about that and all that's going on. And does being the frontman of a metal hardcore band influence your in-ring presentation, or is it like kind of serendipitous where you tie it together? Because it feels like it would be sort of the same characteristics.
I'd say the metal stuff is a lot more serious. And I do take professional wrestling extremely seriously, but with the music, I wanted, yes, I do have a very big creative outlet with that, and I wanted to express myself in a different way. And I've always been into that style of metal and hardcore, and I'm very into the heaviness and the vibe of all of that. And I think it definitely associates with going back to what I liked what wrestling was when I was a little boy, because I liked extreme stuff. Like ECW was one of the first things I watched as a young kid, where I was like, oh my God, like people could go through tables, people could like, you know, take a chair to the head or barbed wire. Like I loved the extremeness of it. And I think I naturally gravitated towards heavy music and hardcore shows because of that. And yeah, I formed a band back when I got out of high school with 3 of my closest hometown friends that I went to school with around my age. And yeah, we formed like this sick new metal core hardcore band called Sprawl. And we don't do anything anymore. But you never know. Time could always change and something could happen with that. But let me tell you how I broke my hand. So yeah, I was at one of my friend's shows. My boy Anthony, shout out Hard Knock Records. He booked a show, had a couple of local bands on there, and I was moshing. I've been doing it for years now, and it only takes one time, bro. I hit my hand on somebody's head, broke this bone right in the middle of my hand, broke it completely in half, like destroyed my hand. The third metacarpal, it's called.
So you're having trouble like bending the hand and closing a fist and all that too?
I'm good now. I'm pretty healed now. You know, it's definitely a lot better than it was. But when it first happened, it was brutal. I was more in shock when I first did it. I think I did it. It cracked and it broke, and I was like, "Ow, that did not feel good." And then as a few minutes went on, I tried to close my hand, and I realized I couldn't like even go like this. I was like, "Ah, shoot, something's wrong." And my hand looked like it had a baseball. It was like this. It was swollen up to hell. So that was one of the worst things I ever did. And especially now that I'm in the business, like, you know, pro wrestling, and I take this really seriously. So it really fucked me up a little bit when I realized that I was going to be out for a little while, and you know, for him too, because we're a team. Yeah. So like it puts us both in jeopardy. If I get fucked, that means he gets fucked. You know what I mean? And the other way around. My bad if I'm cursing. Is that okay if I do that?
It's all good. Yeah, it's all good.
Okay,
yeah, it's all good curse on here. Yeah, all good. So, but also you mentioned being on TV with the Man Bun stuff. Even when you guys are injured, he has the connection with the Fifth Dimension stuff on the YouTube channel and cutting promos. And I'm sure, you know, we hear throughout the history of wrestling, Stone Cold did his best character work in '97 when he had a broken neck. I'm sure it helped you guys work on the characters a little bit. It was like almost good time to really focus on who you want to be in the ring when you're ready to come back.
For sure. I did a lot of the Bob Orton inspired stuff because I had a cast on my hand for a while. So whenever he had a few singles matches and I would go out there, and if I had to do a spot, I was like, all right, well, let me use the cast. And I always had these ideas going through my mind. You know, he had a match with Alvin Alvarez, and in the match, I went to hit Alvin, and then he moved out of the way, and I hit him in the head with the cast. Like, you know what I mean?
Schmuck cost me the
Yeah,
match.
it cost me the match. And, you know,
one of these days, you guys will get it right with the cast or the mask or something,
Freaking
but
better,
it will
dude.
come
Gotta
together.
plan this out better. Or
I know
something.
what's going on. Ugh.
All right. So speaking of, hardcore presentations, you guys seem to have formed a perfect union with Joey Conway. How did that come back working together? Was it just you guys became boys in the back and you seemed like, I want to do something with him? And it feels like a natural fit.
So with Joey Conway, it worked out because my first ever match ever was against Joey Conway. So pretty much my whole wrestling career, I've been in this storyline with Joey Conway. So it started off where Summer of Love, like the first one last year, our first show back from COVID, I was cleaning the ropes, like for COVID, right? I was just the boy that would clean the ropes after the matches. Joey Conway slips on the ropes, loses his match. I get back in there. I'm cleaning the ropes. He grabs me. He throws me around, and then Dickie Rods comes out because they had beef because Dickie Rods won the Heart and Soul tournament over COVID. Joey Conway was mad about it. Whatever. They set up a match later on with Joey and I. I beat Joey. My first match, I rolled him up and I won. And then the few months after that, Joey started getting people to join him. He got Corey Cooper to join him to face Dickie Rods and I. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse to the point where Joey Conway is telling us that, you don't want to be like Dickie Rods. You don't want to grow up and go nowhere. Damn. You want to be a star.
Got him. So,
we listened to Joey Conway. Freaking tried to put old Dickie out, took him to the back, shot him in the head.
Sal did a good job of that until I collapsed, I think, right? I would say he did a good job.
Yes, I would. And since then, we had a few people. Sal even joined for a little while. And then they after Psycho Circus, Team Conway lost. Everybody left but the Slimeballs. So Slimeballs are here to stay with Conway.
Yeah,
maybe you guys can find somewhere with trios titles and head your way there. You, Joey Conway, can go out there and go for some trios gold.
We're trying to kick the SAT's ass.
Yeah,
we're trying to go 3-on-3 with the SAT and drop those boys.
Yeah.
Well, dude, perfect transition to the question I have next. And we were talking about New York Wrestling Connection. You've made it clear you want to win the tag titles. You mentioned the Shillelagh Hitman and everything that went down at the last show. And I think back to your match in March 22, I think you guys alluded to in the beginning, when you got a shot at the then tag champs SAT. What was it like to get a shot that early in your career against, let's be honest, two legends? I know you want to put them out, but they're Hall of Famers, legends, two of the best to ever do it. Well, three of the best to ever do it.
That's the reason we want to put them out, because they are legends. We got to freaking take their legend status.
Yeah. For me, that was pretty crazy. Like, as I said, I didn't know if I mentally and physically, if I was ready to face a team of that degree ever. Especially at how little I had been in the business for. So that was definitely one of the dopest moments of my career by far. Because they're one of the sickest tag teams ever, and they've invented every single move you could think of that you see on television. That was an awesome thing for us to do. And I think that skyrocketed the signal for the Slimeballs around Long Island. I think that match itself put us on the map for Long Island for sure.
Yeah, and they're giving back to the business, and you see what they do. We saw the cage match that they had at the outdoor show, and they're always giving back to the business. And they're taking as many bookings as possible. I have a quick question. I'm going to divvy off to the side for a sec. You're a huge ECW market, sounds like, Tommy. Love ECW.
Yes.
Did you mark out the first time you got into that building? Because when I went into NYWC and I saw they had the original ECW set, the brick wall and the ring donated by Mikey Whipwreck, I lost my mind, and nobody understood why, but I was like, this is unbelievable to me.
That was probably one of the first few things that I was like, holy shit, when I first got to NYWC. Like, as you said, I totally marked out. I went in there and I asked promoter, I was like, is this the actual stage? And he's like, yeah. Same with the ring. I think that was the ring they used from probably the late 90s to
that's what they were
whenever
saying.
They stopped.
Yep.
I think it's the same ring that's on Guilty as Charged 2001 and everything is, and So yeah, I totally was like, this is crazy. And I think it's fantastic. Yeah, I definitely love that about NYWC, especially when I first came by, that the ECW lore is still there. And it's amazing. It's absolutely a dream for me, man.
So cool. And GCW kind of carrying that banner now with what is the old ECW type of lore. And I mean, music too. Not to give my own plug for Shot of Nostalgia, but we do a show called Shot of Nostalgia. We're doing WCW 1996. Season 2 is going to be ECW 1995. And we're watching the episodes, and they strip down the music because they don't have the rights to all the different songs, and
Yeah.
it's not the same product. It really isn't. It's such a tough watch without Metallica, without Pantera, without all these
Yeah.
bands walking these guys out
House
to
of
the ring.
Chains.
Yeah. But they were just cowboys. They didn't care. They got rid of the music, and GCW does the same thing. You go to a GCW show, they're using Vince McMahon's music and Big Show's music for Marco Stunt, and
Yeah.
they don't care because
It's funny.
you know, it's once ECW got so big, they couldn't not do it, because on pay-per-view you can't just play Pantera and not pay somebody.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what like people really are drawn to about GCWs. It's so raw. It's like exactly like ECW in the 90s. It's like, you know, these dudes are just going out there and just killing each other for the fact of like extreme wrestling. And I think that's perfect. And that's how ECW got its name, and that's how GCW got its name. You know, they're like, it's like the stepson of ECW, you know.
100%. And
I would say
GCW
the
has
son
like
of ECW is CZW. That's what I would say in that aspect.
exactly. They have the
Especially early
legacy as well.
2000s CZW, some of the best extreme wrestling I've ever watched ever.
Absolutely. So staying on tag wrestling, we'll get more to the ECW type of stuff. You guys have been working together for a while now on screen. Are there certain teams you guys watch tape on from present day or past that you want to draw movesets, mannerisms, things like that?
I mean, I don't know. I think him and I are trying to figure out what we can do. No, not to give off like a cocky vibe, but like when we did backyard stuff, him and I were really about figuring out cool moves and dope moves, and him and I like really fed off of each other. So I think that's a lot of what we do now. We're more or less like, okay, like how can you look cool doing something to this, and then I could, you know, we work with each other a lot. We feed off each other, you know, because the big guy little guy complex is something that we've learned how to like make use of over the last year with wrestling. And I'd say for me, naturally, if I'm gonna like study, I guess, tag team wrestling, I'm gonna watch, you know, like the synchronization of like the Hardy Boys, you know what I mean?
Right.
Not necessarily their moves, but how synchronized they are. And like Edge and Christian, same thing, like how synchronized they are. But when it comes to like inspiration for like vibe and cool moves, I would say like the Eliminators from ECW. Yeah. I am obsessed with those two dudes, Perry Saturn and Josh, what's his name? I forgot. Cannon, I think his name was Canyon. I forgot what his name was, but he was super sick, and they were super sick. And even the Pitbulls were like so interesting. I mean, I'm not nearly as jacked as those dudes are, but yeah, like them. I don't know, man. I'd say like even like tag teams that are like around us a lot, like Milk Trogger, like we have yet to face them. Like we really want to face them because him and I just know like it's gonna go off. It's gonna absolutely go off, and we really want to show the people that like we can truly hang with like dope teams.
It's coming. There's a lot of great teams in the Northeast, not just New York Wrestling Connection, but all over the place. So you guys are hanging there. And yeah, John Cronus, by the way, I didn't want to.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I knew it was some of the K. I couldn't like think about it.
Yeah, the Pitbulls are awesome too, but you know, I see the comparison and the big little thing going on as well. I can see like a Dudley Boy with Spike Dudley type of thing as well,
yeah,
like
man.
Drawing off of that. But that's a really good answer because a lot of people look at, you know, they're watching guys like, you know, the Brainbusters or FTR. They're trying to be traditional tag teams, but there's a way to be a good tag team without doing the same type of style that the Midnight Express were working. You can still be a good tag team. Synchronicity and also cohesion in the tag match with hot tags and frequent tags and double team moves that can come a long way with different styles.
Yeah.
So back on October 2nd, we talked about CCW. You guys worked Limelight 10 in Maryland against a familiar team, the Reps. So they're from this area as well. And then Sage, you took on Jared Diaz at Dojo Wars a little while ago. Just speak to the experience of CZW and any initial thoughts about being there and comparing it to the differences of NYWC. And did you feel like it helped you guys level up?
Definitely helped us level up a little, just because, you know, going out, you have to try to, it's not your home promotion. You have to, you know, you can't mess around. You can't go there and just fool around and stuff. You have to, you know,
come out of your shell. You have to really force yourself to come out of your shell. And the cool thing about there when we first did Dojo Wars is like, they had like a list of things that they like wanted to make sure that we did. Like it would be like, if, for example, like, don't hit the ropes the first minute of the match. Don't do any bumps on the apron at all. You know, make sure your comeback is out of the corner. Like a list of interesting rules that forced us to, okay, we have to like think about the way we're going to have our match go down and strategically figure out how we want to nail things. I liked that a lot about CZW when we first did Dojo Wars there a couple times.
Is that different than any other place you've been? Because I've never heard of anyone doing that. That seems like you have to just, it's almost a tryout where they're like, we want to see you do X, Y, and Z. That's amazing.
Yes, just to see if like we can. Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it was definitely interesting and definitely new for us to figure out. Yeah, you have any?
Yeah, it makes you work around like what you're comfortable doing. Like that's why I like it. It brings you out of your shell. It makes you, it makes you work on things that you maybe wouldn't work on or think of. I wouldn't put a bunch of boundaries on myself in a normal match. That's why it's like fun to have it when you have to do it,
100%. And we see a lot of that with saturation of moves and people doing the Canadian Destroyer a million times. And when Amazing Red first did it and Petey Williams did it, it was like blew your mind, couldn't believe it.
Crazy,
but now you got Dustin Rhodes doing it as a setup in a match on Dynamite. And no disrespect to him, but it's like it loses the effect. Like the DDT back in the day with Jake the Snake, he used to hit it, lights out, it's over.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't remember the last time a match ended with a typical DDT, not a variation of it. So
yeah, people don't mark over the DDT anymore. Meanwhile, you show the clip of him hitting Steamboat with it on the ground, then you'll really see how that move was effective.
Yeah, stretch it out, see you later. Like that had a different effect back in the day.
Really did. Same thing with the pile driver. It's like one of my favorite moves ever.
It almost gained a little bit more momentum when WWE banned it. When John Cena first did it, or Punk did it to Cena, I believe he did it.
Punk did it to Cena on Raw, yeah.
Breaking it out, that was like I couldn't believe it happened. But now a pile driver again, it's just like, oh, it's just a pile driver.
Yeah.
So we talked about what brought you guys here, the backyard wrestling. Do you guys want to add a little bit more to that about how you guys would set up shows? Who else was involved? Did you guys have music, different characters, not just playing one other? Because I used to do it myself, so I'm very familiar with setting up the whole day. You had a whole bunch of different outfits. You guys would sit in the room and book the card, have your music set up. So I'm sure you guys have some stories.
Oh, yeah, brutal. Because at first, we had a bunch of, I think it was like 3 of us, then like a bunch of other people joined. And then it like toned down to, I was like 14. He was like 16, 17. So like, I was like so heavily into it. I was like, this is my freaking life, dude. So like, there was 4 of us and there was probably like 15 characters between the 4 of us.
Yeah.
Like I had like 3, 4 different masks I'd put on, like, and we do it like back to back. But the way we make it easier is we make like highlight videos. So we were able to, we do like, we take inspiration from like Lucha Underground and we do like Aztec Warfare. And we'd have our characters in the match the same time that we're in the match. So, it'd be so difficult.
Oh, wow, that's a good idea.
So we like crazy. Yeah, we edited everything for days on end.
We had, that's why like the camera cuts and everything were so hard. Like we went so crazy to the point where people kept leaving and like stopped showing up. We had like a general manager and we just wanted somebody there to be there all the time. So literally we had our friend Lucas that was a wrestler. The general manager was his twin brother, but it was really him. And the reason that they were never on screen was because they absolutely hated each other, like had the biggest hatred for each other ever. So like we did stuff where like, I think it was like Aztec Warfare. The guy, his name was Pete Ref. I even like I had a painting of him and everything. I made an action figure. He put the action figure in the ref shirt and he'd stand in front of the painting and cut promos. And so like I did something once where like Pete Ref is reffing Aztec Warfare and my boy Lucas walks out and he like looks at him and he's like, and then I keep doing the camera cuts and they're like freaking out and he leaves and everything. So
yeah, it's literally just him the whole time.
It's so much fun, just so much work.
Yeah, man.
And like trying to get people to come on time and stuff. And then eventually like these guys saw our videos on YouTube and they were like, hey, you want to come down and wrestle with us? I'm like 16 wrestling with these guys that are like 30, 25 and stuff. Like, yeah.
And
what was the ring setup for you guys? Was it mattresses? Did you guys use the trampoline? Like what?
Trampoline.
We were trampoline guys too.
Oh yeah.
Trampoline mixed with the ground.
I wanted to do, there's a backyard wrestling company called ETTW. There's a backyard wrestler, the best backyard wrestler in the whole entire freaking world, Matt DeMorist. And you have to check this guy out. He does a few indie bookings now, but it seems like he's not gonna, it doesn't seem like he's going to stick with it. I hope he does, but the way he's making it sound, it doesn't sound like he's going to be around for much longer, but I would text him. I'd be like, yo man, what do you guys use? Like, and like when he answered me, I was like, oh my God, I'm 14 thinking he's like some big star, and they used carpet padding. They'd take a bunch of carpet padding, put it all together, and then they'd get like wrestling mats. But those are so expensive, and like gymnast mats that are like this thick, and they just put them on top, and they do like spots off the trampoline onto it. So that I always wanted that so bad. And at one point we were going around, like I'd have my mom drive me around looking for mattresses, and we were gonna do tires and then mattresses over it, and then like plywood and stuff. But we just never got to it because we were like, it's gonna get ruined. Like we're not gonna put a tarp over it every time. We're freaking easy. Like
we were gonna do it in my backyard, and my mom just wasn't about having that whole set up in my backyard.
The liability too.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, the thing is, people want to shit on backyard wrestling, but there's been some, there's some merit to it as well. Like I'm sure you guys get behind the mic and you feel like when you're just working your one match of the night, there was a time and place you're doing 15 matches with 15 different characters and doing the camera cuts and the edits. So just putting all your energy into the one character, there's got to be something you learn from the backyard wrestling. And there's a work ethic too, because if you don't have passion, you're not going to do it. And I feel like that's what backyard wrestling is. It's just passion.
I see why people don't like backyard wrestling, but I could see at the same time, if you're doing it because you want to be a wrestler, it definitely helps you, because that's the one thing that like so many people have said to me is like, oh my God, you're probably like where you are right now because of the backyard wrestling. Like when I first started, like Dickie was my trainer and he'd be like, oh, you think you could do this? And I was like, yeah. He's like, have you done it before? I'm like, he's like, in the backyard. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like that's where also like I was a face for like my first 6 months, maybe I was a face. And like the first time I made my entrance, I was like, this is not it. Like I had no charisma, nothing at all. The only reason people cared about me because it looks like I'm a little kid getting beat up by like bigger guys. So I was just like, dude, I need to turn heel. And then like even the promoter's like, yeah, dude, you're a little shit. You need to turn heel. Yeah, blah blah blah. So the second I turned heel, I literally felt like something like
it's like a switch.
This literally, I'm not even joking. The second I freaking wailed at Dickie in the back, and I start stomping on him, and then I'm stomping on him so hard, and then I just come up and I'm like, ah! And I was just like, oh my God, I felt so freaking like, I was like, this is it. I needed this so badly because I'm not doing anything as a face, like no charisma. Now, maybe since I've worked as a heel so much, I could find my personality. Like I'd do the same thing, just act less slimy, You're
just within the rules of the match. Like
you
could be a slime ball, but follow the rules.
Math,
Exactly. So we talked about some favorite wrestlers before, but I guess put into words some of your favorite wrestlers, Sage. You mentioned Jeff Hardy, but anyone else come to mind who you like to watch growing up and who you like to watch now?
Okay, so I was like falling out of love with wrestling in like probably like 2015, like towards that era, because like I remember that was when everybody was getting injured around the time that like it was like Sheamus and Roman feuding for like the WWE title. I remember everybody was getting injured, and I was just like I was only watching like WWE, so I was getting so like sick of it. And then I remember I went to my boy's house for Wrestle Kingdom
10, maybe
10, I think.
Was it AJ versus
no, the Wrestle Kingdom 11.
Oh, okay.
So no, then that was 2017. Then
okay.
Kenny Omega versus Okada, their first ever match. Bruh. God, that hooked me so heavily. Like, so I went home, I got New Japan World, I started watching everything. So for the longest freaking time, Kenny Omega was my guy, but not anymore. But fell in love with it. So like my like dream is to go to like Japan. Like that would be like best of the Super Juniors. Like that is where I want to go. So like New Japan is really like what got me 100% got me back into it. Like, but nowadays, like, I don't know. I don't know what I want to watch. I try to like, I don't have a favorite anymore. Like favorite promotion to watch. I mean, WWE's on fire right now.
Yeah.
So that I definitely fell back in love with WWE as of late, but I haven't been watching too much New Japan. I mean, I watch like the best of Super Juniors and everything, but yeah, New Japan is definitely what got me back into wrestling.
So before you answer, Tommy, but the slime ball gimmick and the whole act would get so much heat in Japan. They hate when people don't follow the rules. So there's room there.
Yeah.
You guys would get and 2 Americans coming in breaking the rules. Like innately, you're going to get booed out of the building.
Hell yeah.
But Tommy, who are some of the guys you mentioned? The ECW and Perry Saturn, guys like that. But who else you want to add to the list? And also current day guys that kind of keep up your appeal and what you like about wrestling today.
Oh man. Okay, so like as an 8-year-old kid, it was like Jeff Hardy, Hulk Hogan, Undertaker. But as I've grown up and I've watched so much stuff, like I think Mick Foley's at the top of probably the list, and I would say Triple H and still the Undertaker. Definitely present day, I would say like Malachi Black for sure. And Brody King, love him so much. Who else? I really like Pac too. He's insanely good.
So underrated. People don't talk about him enough.
Dude, he's one of the greatest wrestlers that are around right now. I will put my money on that. And I don't care. I love Chris Jericho. I think he's fantastic. I can't believe he's still wrestling at the caliber that he is at his age. Like, kudos to him, bro. But yeah, really, like, I'd say, like, inspiration for how I am, how I look, how I act. Very Raven-esque, actually. You know, band shirts, some shorts, you know, definitely more modern, but like that is definitely what I went for, mixed with like a little bit of Jeff Hardy, you know, mixed with my own thing. I would say, let me see. I don't know. I like so many wrestlers, man. It's sometimes hard for me to like pick and choose out of my head. I think my favorite heel of all time has got to be Randy Orton, just because like he just literally is the greatest heel that ever came in wrestling. Then you could say Ric Flair, but for me, growing up wise, I'd say Randy Orton. You couldn't not hate him. So him and Edge especially.
I got something to add. So I'd say this came off the top of my head because I was thinking of like Japan and like being slimy. I think it was 2017 or 18 when Tetsuya Naito had the IC title, and he was just destroying that thing.
Yeah.
He would come out. He'd come out right from the entranceway, throw it all the way into the ring. At one point, he won a match. He comes out. He picks it up. He takes it, slams it into the steps.
Yeah.
The whole freaking plate is getting destroyed. And
it's
I
all
remember
dirty too. Like the white strap is all disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
He like
every
the
time
belt.
he would smash it, I would cringe. So that has got to be one of my favorites, and that's got to be one of like the inspirations for like Slimeball-esque. Like he was a piece of garbage at that time. Everybody hated him. He's definitely one of my favorites, 100,000%. And Will Ospreay right now is doing some crazy stuff. Yeah. Like everybody shits on Will Ospreay because like, oh, he's not a wrestler. He can't wrestle. He just watch his New Japan shit.
Yeah, literally.
Not freaking him and Ricochet. Watch his New Japan shit right now. The stuff he's doing right now is good as hell. Will Ospreay is the man.
The growth of Will Ospreay is insane. Like he was a super lightweight guy who just put on the weight, and he can work both styles, and you could see the influence of both divisions in him. And I'm a huge Ospreay fan. People that don't like Ospreay, that's probably for other reasons. I think they're just looking for reasons not to like him.
It's people love hating on things that people love. And I think that's like a very like modern day thing, hating on things that everybody likes just because you're a hater. Like that's why you hate it. But
yeah,
like Ospreay versus Juice Robinson in the G1 finals. I think it was like maybe the second to last night before he fought Okada. That was an unbelievable match. Like, and it was all just Juice just killing Ospreay the whole match, and Ospreay showing that he still got it in him. Like, man, if you want to be a face, look at that match and watch how Ospreay wrestles that match. That's how you'll figure out how to be a face.
In the same breath too. Well, with Juice.
Like Juice is also heel. It's a little confusing in the New Japan rules. It's hard to like face, heel. It's always hard to tell.
Juice is also the same thing. He's such a skilled guy working his character, and watching him wrestle Moxley too. I know people weren't huge fans of it because they didn't know who he was, but some of the onus has to be on fans to educate themselves. Like you don't have to know everything about the product before you watch it. Sometimes just like take it in, like just discover it for the first time. You like it. If not, it's all good. It doesn't have to be spelled out to everybody. That's why I don't think people are losing with this forbidden door stuff. They want everything to be spelled out for them.
Yeah,
that's very true. Very, very true.
So let's get back to New York Wrestling Connection for a second. It's been tagged with the ability to create future mega stars. We can go down the list of people that have come through the doors there. you guys have been there. What do you think sets it apart from other training programs? And, just, I guess, speak to their professionalism and the fact that they're able to churn out so many future wrestlers that do big things in the business.
There's so many different flavors of ice cream, and I think that's why it is so good. We have 3 different trainers. We have Dickie Rods, Michael Mistretta, and now Mike Mondo has just come back. His first class was last Thursday, and it was amazing. So we have so many different trainers to the point where you're getting taught a punch in 3 different ways. You know what I mean? And it could sound like that's a bad thing, but it's not, because you do whichever you're comfortable with. It's not like one of the trainers is going to be like, oh, no, don't punch like that. Punch the way I want you to. It's whichever you want to do. There's some trainer you might be like, oh, what do you have 3 different opinions, and there's so many other guys that aren't trainers that you could ask, like Joey Conway, Man Bun, we have J-Red, Kaysen, Alvin. We have so many guys that have been around for so long that we could ask for, to critique us. There's so much knowledge there. That is why I feel like anybody, if you're putting in the work and if you really want it, you will come out way better than you went in.
Yeah.
Way better. There's so many new kids that want it. Definitely that want it. Like,
and that's the best part. We all feed off each other. You know what I mean? Like that
is definitely a family, and we're not just like, it's not even just saying that. Like, the second you walk in the door, maybe not the second, but like, I feel like like lately, all the new kids I've been like, clicking with, very good. Like, I like when they come in, like, it's intimidating as hell. When you walk in your first day and like, you walk in and you don't know what the hell you're doing, and you see everybody like laying on the floor doing cardio and like, working out and stuff. It's intimidating. So, you just, whenever there's a new kid, I just like to like fuck around with them and let them know, like, this is like, we're not like, it is definitely not like, they're not hard on you. They're hard on you when you need it. They're hard on you in the best way. You're not going to go home crying. And if you do, it's,
you probably got other problems.
Well, if you do, it's not there. Like, at one point, I remember I was like stuck in the same spot, and Dickie was like, you're not progressing, but not being in a mean way. He's like, you're just stuck right now. You just have to keep working towards like what you want, and you're gonna progress. And I remember there was one day where he's like, had a match, and he's like, yo, it's like, slow down, have another one. I'm like, all right. I thought I slowed down so much. He's like, dude, you went the same pace. Slow down. I'm like, all right. So I had another one. After that, everyone's like, dude, you got to slow down. I was like, what the fuck you guys talking about? I got so mad. And then like, but then they just explain it, and it's just like, they're just there. Everybody's just there to help. And Dickie is like, he's not going to BS you at all.
Yeah.
He will tell you straight up, like, you do something, he will say to you, yo, that was the shits, dude. But it's not like you're like, oh, damn. Like, he's like, yo, that was the shits. Do it like this and do it again.
Yeah, nobody puts anybody down.
Nobody puts anybody down at all.
Yeah, it's not like that.
The best. It's the best environment.
I'm sure, and I know, and everybody hears the stories of how brutal wrestling was back in the day, of course. And there are probably still aspects like that everywhere in wrestling. But, in NYWC, for sure, we all work together, and we're all there to help each other and make each other better. You know what I mean? And like I said, we all feed off of each other, and like, the new kids will watch two older guys in there doing something, and it kicks them in the ass. It's like, oh damn, like I want to figure that out now, and definitely just like not being afraid to ask questions and not being afraid to study the way other people do things, not necessarily copy them, but understand why they do something that way, so you can be like, oh, maybe I'll try it like this, Just feed off each other and feed off the environment, man. We're literally in an ECW ring. Like we're surrounded by so much lore in that building. It's unbelievable that the people that have came in and out of that building, WWE, AEW people that have been in and out of that building over the last 15 years. Like, you know what I mean? Just take it all in, man. Seriously.
I also feel like NYWC is just like the best of both worlds, because there's so many old school guys, and there's all the new kids that are coming in that probably are watching AEW, GCW, PWG, and want to, just get in there, not work, but just, I want to do this move, that move, this move. And then, but then you get in there with the older guys. Like that's how I wanted to be when I first got in. I was like, yo, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, I'm the freaking next guy. And then Dickie Rhodes is like, bro, like, pop that freaking head of yours. Like, you got to learn to wrestle.
Yeah.
And now that whole, like, now I'm that person that's like, oh, what the hell was that? Oh, why is he flipping like that? I'm the freaking, and I hate it. But it's just like, so like, but like,
it proves how much we've grown mentally with wrestling, how much we're, more professional we are, how much we understand now, for sure.
But I just feel like the old school guys definitely help out. Like we just had at the last show, I'm pretty sure it was the Specialist versus Kaysen and Alvin. Like that's one of they haven't had too many matches together as a team. And I'm pretty sure all the ones they've had together have been against like guys that can definitely teach them. Like they faced Dickie Rhodes, Nuke, Dan Barry. Like they were in that whole rivalry with them. Like they definitely learned a lot from those guys, way more than they would if they just did the Specialist versus the Slimeballs. Those are two new teams. We'd be in there, and it would almost be like we'd be learning together. Like, oh, damn, we shouldn't do that next time. Like, oh, that could have went better if we just did this or that. But with the older guys, it's so much better because you're in there, and they're like, it's like, yo, do this, do that. It's not like you go to the back, and then you're like, yo, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do this there?
Right.
So the older guys definitely help out like a lot. Like they're definitely like such a good addition.
That was the best answer I could have asked forever about New York Wrestling Connection. If you guys are thinking about training, you're watching this, that's the spot to go. These guys are the best spokesman ever for this. And I could feel it when I'm in there. When I go to see a show, you guys you could feel the energy and the passion with everybody involved in whatever they're doing, whether it be the first match, middle match, or the main event. Everybody feels like they want to be there and they want to entertain everybody to the best of their ability. But let's talk about Shillelagh Hitman. You guys were shooting on them a little bit there, back until I collapse. They're getting the shot at Milk Chocolate the next show here in a couple weeks. So any thoughts on getting back in the fold to get a shot to winner between the two of them? And do you think Shillelagh Hitman have a chance to take the titles off of Milk Chocolate?
Oh my God, these guys are schmucks. Freaking Psycho Circus. We've tag team elimination 4-way. We eliminated them to win, to face the SAT, and that was our third match. Screw these chumps. These chumps have been around way too long. How long? Irish has been around in NYWC for years. Damn years. Get the hell out of here. Nobody cares. Your time is up. And they're going to realize when they face Milk Chocolate and they realize they can't freaking hang with any good teams. They can't. They're not the guys, and they never freaking will be. And I'm sure everybody is just as mad as us, and everybody knows it's freaking slime time. And not time for the Shillelagh shit, man. Nobody cares about those schmucks. Nobody cares about those schmucks. Like, yeah.
Well, yeah, man. I'd say once we get back in the ring, the title pursuit just simply continues. Like we're, okay, we lose one, okay, we're gonna win two more. So you know what I mean?
We'll freaking drop some. Our match at what's the next show? House of Madness. It's they didn't post it yet. It's freaking.
Okay, spoiler alert. Here we go.
Here we go. Us versus those damn Specialists.
Yeah. Versus
Kaysen and Alvin. So we really just got to go after the Specialists, these two schmucks, because they already beat Kaysen and Alvin. And Kaysen and Alvin can't beat us if the Specialists can beat them. So we have to take out the Specialists. Screw Sal. Screw his Specialists. I don't give a damn. They are not Specialists. They're schmucks.
Yeah, literally. They'd have thought they were going to step to us. I'm sorry, but we're taking them right out of the picture real quick.
God, it pisses me off. But the Shillelagh Hitmen, these two tag matches, flukes. That's what they are. These two tag matches that are happening at the shows. Milk Chocolate versus Shillelagh Hitman should have never happened. Us versus Kaysen versus Specialist should never happen because we're just going to win the triple threat. Milk Chocolate's just going to beat the Shillelagh Hitman. And then month after that, it's just going to be the Slimeballs versus Milk Chocolate for the tag titles.
It's going to be match of the year,
freaking gold.
Better than Steiner math, it's the Slimeball math. There you go. That's the logic right there. Everyone finds their way. It's going to be Slimeballs for the championship, so everyone should just accept it sooner than later.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm freaking. It's like, God, come on now.
Any one of these tag teams that stepped up to us are getting a one-way ticket to Slimeball City, and that's exactly what's going to happen every single time, bro, no matter what.
So Joey Conway, big match coming up at the next event. Yeah. Man Bun Jesus and a casket match. Yeah. You guys have played a significant role in this build to the match. So you guys are very much involved in the build to this match, and You've been at Joey Conway's side the whole time.
Yeah, man.
What are your thoughts? The two of them have been putting the work in promo wise, in ring wise, to build towards this match to warrant a casket match. Because it feels like the feud has boiled over to the point where it doesn't feel like they just put the stipulation there. These guys need to go at it in the stipulation with casket on the line.
Definitely, because Man Bun Jesus, if he doesn't win, loses freaking everything. These two, the only reason these two guys had a match together in the first place was after Psycho Circus. They both lost. Man Bun lost the Fusion title to Willow. Joey lost the whole. He built this whole team to go up against Dickie Rods and his team in the Psycho Circus, and he lost. So it's like we have these two fantastic wrestlers. Where do they go? We put them together. Who's going to come out on top? Joey Conway wins. Tommy Rant and I hop in. We freaking put Dude Buster Man Bun Jesus through the freaking chairs off the stairs. He's gone. He's out for months. He finally comes. We took him out, right?
That video's got 2 million views, by the way.
It had four, and
really?
And then our Instagram got deleted.
What?
So yeah, the freaking NYWC original.
Oh yeah, that was like something happened midsummer, right? That got hacked and deleted.
We lost all 18K followers.
Oh man.
So
nice gunshot right there.
We put Man Bun Jesus on the shelf. We're doing our thing. Now Man Bun comes back. He returns. The Slimeballs were sidelined. I had the freaking broken nose, whatever the hell. I had the surgery on my nose. He has the broken hand. We're sitting there at our merch table watching this schmuck in the ring come back doing the same exact thing. It's like, Man Bun Jesus, his big return. He comes back with his stupid group doing the same thing. His dumb, groovy Grizzlies dancing around. Who the hell even are they? Yeah, who is that?
They're creepy.
Who's in that groovy Grizzly?
They tried to pants me in their match. They want to see my hiney.
They come out.
What's the matter with them?
They come out with finally these schmucks that aren't even in the fifth dimension anymore.
Yeah.
Dolly and Dr. Do.
Yeah.
Screw them. So we come back and we see them doing the same thing. So I say to the promoter, I say, you know what? I want Man Bun. I want to face Man Bun Jesus. And you know what? We got it. We got it to happen. Man Bun Jesus versus Sage Chance, and he freaking beat me. He beat me because of freaking miscommunication. Whatever. He beats me. Now, Tommy Rant was getting involved. So Man Bun says, you know what? I want a piece of Tommy Rant. I want a piece of the big boy.
Well, yeah.
So,
the only reason I lost is because my hand wasn't completely healed. You know.
True.
And
I went in there. I wrestled with a broken hand, and I took him to Slimeball City. Backdropped him around the apron. Boom. Destroyed him. And he may just got lucky that night. He's lucky my hand wasn't 100%, or I would have had him. I swear to God.
So now that he beats both Slimeballs, he gets an opportunity at Joey Conway. Freaking loses again. And he thinks it's because of us. It is not because of us.
No, it's not.
He lost to Joey Conway the first time. We were not out there. We came out after the fact that he lost. So if he wants to say he's sick of the Slimeballs, screw you, Man Bun. We're sick of you. Yeah. And that is why freaking Joey Conway's going to put him in a damn casket and get rid of him, because nobody cares about Man Bun Jesus anymore. Nobody cares about these damn Grizzlies. The only reason Man Bun Jesus is over is because of these freaking Grizzlies and his gimmicks. Man Bun Jesus needs gimmicks to get himself over. Strip that boy freaking from everything. Put him in there alone. He's done. He's gone. He's garbage. He's done, and he's going to fucking not even rest in peace. He's going to rot in hell.
Yeah, man.
Not freaking rest in peace. He's going to hell, and he's going to rot.
Have you seen the casket yet? Did they have it up and ready?
Dude, I almost lost my job getting that casket.
Dude, it's a real casket.
Like real.
It's a legitimate casket.
The wood casket, nothing in the middle, or is it like the cushions inside? That's a coffin.
Dude,
I don't know.
It's literally like a straight up wake casket, like not like Undertaker, like wood casket like that. No, like an actual casket. It's wicked.
Oh yeah, it's a real casket. It's real. Like it's all padded and stuff. It's like a little thing of like foam, like pad in there, and there's like a pillow and everything.
Dude, literally when you see it like awake, it's crazy.
But the one thing that's freaky is like there's like bars all around it to where like holding almost like the little padding in there. So if any of them get like tossed in there,
they landed on like metal bars.
They're gonna get like cut up. So they're gonna have to be careful.
Hey man.
Kind of a missed opportunity, though. We could have had like the old school Undertaker building the Yokozuna casket, the Slimeballs building the casket for Man Bun Jesus.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah,
that would have been awesome.
That would have been some good shit. That would have been good.
So, I'm gonna shift gears a little bit here. Where do you guys think the wrestling business will be in 5 years? I know it's hard to project, but we've been growing a lot just in a small amount of time. Think about the difference in wrestling since 2020 until now. In 5 years, do you see any significant changes, or it's just going to be, not personally, but the business at large? Where do you think the wrestling business will be? More popular? We're going for another boom period?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think if you want to become a pro wrestler, this day and age, the 2020s is the prime time to become a professional wrestler. Especially with how much stuff is going on. Like literally, you don't even have to be, in WWE or AEW to make money being a pro wrestler now. You can go all around the United States and everywhere and wrestle on all these shows and you can make $1. You don't have to be, what I'm getting at is you're not only going to be successful if you're on television. You can make a lot of money not on television too. And I think that's a very important thing. That's really only a thing nowadays, even compared to like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. The Cardona, Cody Rhodes path a little bit. They just made their own.
Man.
I mean, Cody Rhodes is back where he is, but before that, he was hitting every single booking in high school gym and doing the Ring of Honor path. And he got himself back to where he needed to be. And I think he felt like he had to, I wouldn't say earn where he was, but being born a Rhodes, it's a different level of you're born there. So I think he earned a lot of respect going through he did.
Yeah. There's no bad show, even if you think it's a bad show, you're getting exposure. And if you're like, if there's like 5 people in the crowd, if you get to the show, there's going to be people there, wrestlers that you don't know. You have to make connections because that is literally all that this freaking business is about. Connections. Yeah. You need connections to get everywhere. Like that's how we've done everything we've done pretty much. We only went to CCW because Michael Mistretta and Jaden Vallow, they do CCW. So now every show they're like, yo, come down with us. The promoter likes you guys, come down, get your freaking name out there. And then even when we're down there, one of the trainers, Gabby Gilbert, that's all she says to us at Dojo Wars, get out there, network yourself, get out there, make connections, meet people, because that is how you're going to make it in this business. Connections.
I mean, you could see it because one booking leads to another. And then all of a sudden you're in Japan, you're in Mexico, and by knowing the right people and making an impression, I think that's what you guys are doing best. Every time you're on the show, you're making an impression. And when I first saw you guys, you weren't even active. You were just at ringside and you caught my eye, whether it be just the aesthetic of the attire, just the interaction with the fans at ringside, how you use the word goofy. I would just say exaggerated you guys are. That everything done is over the top to the point where that's what pro wrestling is. The guy at the top of the rafters should be able to understand your emotion, even if he's not at ringside. And I think the indie shows are a little bit different because everyone's right on top of you, but that's the mindset, I think. And that's the bigger level of thinking that I think you guys have dialed in right now.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
So as we wind down here, I have some quick hitters after this, but part of the show is talking about future stars such as yourselves. We mentioned a lot of different names. You threw out Jaden Vallow as well. And we have more young talent than ever. Who are 3 wrestlers? I mean, you guys can give 3 collectively or 6 altogether of people you'd recommend for fans to check out, YouTube, check out, go to a local booking that these guys are there. Feel free to give more than that amount, but this is your chance to talk about future stars.
I have too many, so I'm gonna let him go first and see who he leaves out, and then I'll put in my 2 cents.
I'm gonna be real here and just go with people that we've encountered, and I'll say Jaden Vallow first.
Yeah.
He's going to be on television within the next year, and you can put money on that.
Yeah.
And of course, our other trainer, Michael Mistretta, that's another guy that is going to be a star. Whether it's this year, next year, it's coming. Unbelievable mind for pro wrestling. And the Cause of It All, Joey Conway, another guy that should be on television. He's
next. He has everything you could freaking ask for.
Yeah. You see him out there, you're like, yo, why isn't this guy on television? Like, seriously, you look at him, you're like, damn.
He freaking brings something out of you. Oh my God.
Every time you're out there, every time we're out there with him, it's like
even wrestling him, you feel it. He is a different breed. He really freaking is. He is next up. He can work. He could have a great match with anybody, and I know it for a fact. At training the other day, we were told to have a 6-minute match. He goes 3 minutes, and it was the best out of every match there. Yeah. Like, he is freaking a gem. He really is. He's next. He's next up.
And I'd also say I want to put over my trainer, Mike Mondo, because, like, he's been in WWE, and he's had this experience, and he knows what's good. And seriously, he has the most incredible mind for pro wrestling ever. And like as you were saying before, he can teach you 3-4 different ways of doing the most, simple thing, whether it's a lockup into a headlock. He'll teach you 3 different dope ways to do that, and it'll be different than the last one. And definitely follow him on Twitter, because he'll write little tips and things that any wrestler, especially any new guy that might not want to pay attention to how to actually wrestle and might just want to do flips. How about you go follow Mike Mondo and read his tweets, and then you'll really see what you should be doing in a professional wrestling ring. So definitely want to put over his knowledge for sure.
Anyone else?
I guess we could put over Man Bun Jesus too. He's probably one of the best characters ever. Probably the best character in NYWC. I'll be completely honest.
I guess
there's him, and of course us, bro. Like what? We are up next.
Hell yeah.
Slimeballs are up next, bro. We're right now, bro.
All right, so I will say 100% Sal. Sal is freaking he's definitely, I'd say Joey Conway is next up in professional wrestling. Sal Savelli is next up in NYWC. He's going to be the freaking guy.
Oh yeah.
He's on his way to being the guy, and he's going to be the freaking guy. It's just going to take a matter of time, and he is going to be probably the face of NYWC, whether people want it or not. Another person I have to freaking put over is Jarrett Diaz. He is the nicest freaking guy you will ever meet. Like, he's so nice to the point where, like, the first time I was like, damn, this guy's really nice. Like, I thought it was like just because I'm first meeting him, and then the second time I see him, he's like, yo, Slimeball. And he cares about remembering who you are, and that's like a really important thing. And after our tag match, he called at the last show, he calls us over, and he's like, oh, what do you guys think? And we were just like, nah, there's a few things we didn't like about that match that we could have done better. And then he was like, all right, well, he's like, before you do that, what's one thing you liked about the match? He's like, tell me one thing you liked, and then tell me one thing you could do better. So he's just has such a positive mind. He's like, you can't put yourself down. You have to say one good thing you did, one bad thing, and it's not bad because you just have to work on it. So he just did WXW in Germany, I'm pretty sure. So he's definitely on the come up. He deserves it. He's one of the nicest freaking guys, and he's smart. He's not just a flippy guy. He knows what he's doing, definitely. And God, who's the third person I should even say?
Is that all you got, man?
I guess. I mean, even like Gabriel Sky.
Yeah, Gabe Sky,
the remarkable wrestling champion. If they work out the same building as us. I think they have a show the day before us.
I will be there as well. I'm actually doing ring announcing for them. I'll be there for that show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hell yeah. Gabe Sky he's great. He's great. He's definitely next up too. I think he's working 2 times that night. He's got a tag title.
Yeah, he's in the tag tournament also.
And he's defending his title.
Yeah, the last remarkable show, he fought Jordan Oliver, and it was like a 30-minute like WrestleMania main event. It was crazy, bro. And then the show before that, he fought Davey Richards for the remarkable championship. And Davey Richards is a legend. So that was absolutely incredible. So yeah, Gabe Sky is definitely up next for sure.
It's a great pick. I got some quick hitters for you guys. Are fellow Long Islanders. So
yeah, man.
One words, best type of bagel, each one of you guys.
Bacon, egg, and cheese on super egg everything, bro. Salt, pepper, ketchup, hot sauce, hash brown right in the middle, man.
Damn.
He had that ready.
I was going to say bacon, egg,
oh, yeah, I was so ready for that question.
I was just going to say bacon, egg, and cheese. Normal.
All right, best pizza on the island, best place. I know you guys are like, what, Melville? You guys are Suffolk County, right? Because that's where I am, but
yeah, we're Suffolk County. So for me, it's I've had a lot of pizza, man. But this place called Coliseo's.
Okay, thank God. I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
is that in Port Jeff?
My house, really. And some of the best pizza ever, best buffalo chicken slice ever. I can also give a shout out to Old Town Pizza. How you doing? They're fantastic. Love their buffalo chicken slice as well. That's my favorite type of pizza, buffalo chicken. Yeah, man.
Yo, no shit. Those spots
Pizzeria, don't go there. Shit, Sataka Pizzeria sucks, yo.
Me and my homies hate Sataka.
My sister works there. Fuck that place, yo. That place sucks ass.
Coliseo, that's Port Jeff Station, right?
Yeah, man.
Dude, that's like I could throw a rock there right now. So just so you know,
you gotta go there after this.
You guys, we'll meet up. Just be doing this in person right now. What are we doing?
I know that. At Coliseo's. That was
live from Coliseo's.
How you doing?
We fucked up. Yo, let's redo this.
The next one we do when you come back on is Tag Champs. We'll be at Coliseo. We'll get a buffalo chicken slice. We'll celebrate that way.
That's how we do it, son.
All right, Rangers, Islanders. Who you guys rooting for?
Islanders, man.
I
don't watch sports that much, but I'm gonna say Islanders.
All right, final question. What's your go-to beach? Where you guys go for the beach if you guys are going on the island?
Probably
Smith Point.
Either Smith Point, Cedar Beach. Cedar Beach from trying to chill. If I'm trying to swim, Fire Island for sure.
All right, hell yeah. All right, as we close up, guys, give me a few things people should expect from Slimeballs aside from being tag team champions going into 2023. What else can we expect? Put yourselves over here.
Just when you think you know what we're about to do next, you actually have no idea. So that's one thing. And we have a lot more to prove, and we have a lot more to show. We are seriously. I would like to think that we can truly hang with top dudes. If put in that position, we can prove to anybody in wrestling that we can fucking hang with anybody. And I have yet to get to show more people that about us.
And if you think we haven't done anything slimy yet, putting Man Bun Jesus through those chairs, that's nothing. We are going to do the most menace shit you could think of. The people of NYWC, the people in the crowd, they're screwed because Slimeball freaking City.
Yeah, we wake up and choose violence every day, and we get into that NYWC building, and we have the most devious stuff.
We're about to go there right now after. We're about to fuck up all these new kids.
Yeah, man.
Let's go.
This kid Cooper, I'm going there and kicking your ass right now. Yo, we got all these new young kids. They don't know what's about to hit them, dude.
But let me give a shout out to all my boys. Shout out Stabbed, NYC Shootout, Targeted, Hard Knock Records. Those are my boys. Yeah, man. Shout out Combat Zone Wrestling, NYWC, Outlaw Pro Wrestling, Win, SAT. Shout out all of them. Yeah, man. Just I love this shit.
Guys, remember to follow Slimeballs on Instagram. You guys see it popping in the scroll. If you guys are listening audio only on the Acefield Retro Wrestling channel, you guys can check out the bio there, and you'll get there all their info. You can also follow me on Instagram at Acefield Retro to find all the up-and-coming visits to taverns. I'm having Desmond Cole, the big Buffa, coming on next week, and then they mentioned Joey Conway. He'll be in mid-November, so we're going to be
awesome.
Fresh off of that casket match. We know he already got the win. We know he did. So
yeah, come on, dog. Come on, bro. That's his match.
With you guys in the corner, there's no way he's losing. But I appreciate you guys coming on here, and I appreciate everybody listening. Until next time, this has been Visits Tavern. I'm the Ace of Tavern, Stephen Acefield. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, brother.